Yeah, I guess the first thing I want to ask is, as you look and as you plan towards this year and perhaps the year after that, do you get a sense that things have softened as far as growth is concerned, not only in the Philippines, obviously, but perhaps ASEAN-wide as well?
Yeah. Well, from a trade point of view, I think the Philippines has come a long way. We continue to trade with some of the major partners of ASEAN, including China. But obviously, the slowdown in China will affect exports from the Philippines. What's been keeping us going in the Philippines is actually our domestic consumption, and it's been we're far stronger there than we are on the export side. We're also not an oil-producing nation, and so it's been beneficial to us that oil prices have come down. But that's affected other ASEAN countries negatively.
Would you say we're in a sweet spot, or still will continue to be in a sweet spot?
We're still in a very good position, I guess, from an Ayala point of view. The Philippines is basically in a strange economic zone where domestic demand is far stronger than most other countries. Our remittances continue to drive consumer demand, and that's really been a very strong point for the country at a time when there's been a global slowdown on the export side and on commodities and oil in general.
And do you think this optimism that you have will be reflected in your capex plans for this year? Generally speaking, are we looking at a higher budget for 2016?
Well, we've already come up over the last 2 years. We've been spending far more and overweighting the Philippines far more in terms of capex than ever in our history. Chances are this year we'll hit about 100 billion. I mean, over the last 2 years we've been hitting numbers of this nature. That is unprecedented in Ayala Corporation's history. So as we move on to 2016, chances are the numbers will remain somewhat similar. We continue to expand on the telecom side, on the real estate front, and on the kind of capital expenditures we need to make all our other businesses competitive.
Are you looking outside? Because I think what we've seen over the last 6 months,
Sure.
Philippine conglomerates and names have gone through a biscuit maker in New Zealand, you have a distillery in Spain, you have
That's
a casino in South Korea. Ayala, what's your position on this?
Well, we've been basically overweighting the Philippines for some time now. Our economy here has been good. We're the second fastest growing economy in Asia still. And so I think we've done the right thing in overweighting the country. However, we have increasingly taken some positions abroad. We have an electronics plant that has a global footprint. We have operations in mainland China, in Eastern Europe, in Mexico, and that's a business that's been continuing to grow. So we've also taken some steps in some of our utilities. We've moved our water business, and we've become a fairly major player in Ho Chi Minh City and Vietnam. We're looking at expanding that potentially to Myanmar. So we do continue to look at opportunities, and perhaps not as aggressively as others, but I think all in all, our portfolio has remained strong because of the Philippine growth.
And I have to ask you about your telco business.
Yes.
With the potential entry of Telstra into the market, I've yet to see an analyst come out and say there is no room for a third player. Seems to be the broad agreement that they may be able to take market share. Is it safe to assume you're well prepared for this?
Yeah. Well, I think it's been many years now that Globe has continued to increase its market share. I think we've hit 50 million customers very recently. That's a far cry from the 30 million we used to have. It's a robust organization. It's aggressive. It's adding value in new ways in the entertainment field. We welcome open markets, and if people can get the right licenses and come in, we encourage them to do so. But I think within that framework, Globe has shown a great deal of resiliency, a lot of strength, a very good balance sheet, and a great marketing and sales team. So I think we should be able to withstand.
Doesn't worry as much then?
Yeah, no, not so much.
Macro outlook on the Philippines. You have elections coming now.
Yes.
Would you say that's the single biggest risk factor right now?
Well, there's always a uncertainty that comes with elections. On the positive side, I've had a chance to see the platforms of most of the candidates, and they're basically running relatively predictable economic policies for now. There is no candidate that is showing an unusual trend away from the kind of economic policies that the current government has shown, and that gives me a lot of comfort. So irrespective of who wins, we'd like to think that the economic policies of this existing government will continue. So that basically gives us a lot of comfort. On the negative side, it's still quite uncertain as to how the elections will go, and that's always a question mark for most people.
A lot of the praise really on I guess, how growth has panned out in the Philippines was really because of some of these measures that President Aquino had taken put in place. What's one thing you see that they may have overlooked? What's one thing that perhaps the new incoming government can improve on?
Well, let me just start with many positives. Our country has come a long way in terms of governance. I think President Aquino set the tone on that front, and it's been reflected in our credit rating, our low inflation rates, low interest rates. It's really just been just a great period of time for the Philippines. But as you move on, there will be other factors that come to play. And for now, I think we're looking forward to a much more stable Philippines, Philippines that grows. And we just need to adjust to this growth that's taking place in the country and make sure that it has the infrastructure to be able to handle it. If we can get that balance correct, complement the growth with the right infrastructure to allow that growth to become sustainable, then I think we have a winning combination.